Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're diving straight into how blending human psychology with cutting-edge AI can literally transform your public speaking skills. Whether you're pitching to a boardroom, presenting in a classroom, or just trying to get your point across in daily life, we all know that sinking feeling of stepping up to speak, right? The sweaty palms, the racing heart, the sudden urge to be anywhere else. But what if the secret to beating that fear isn't just practicing more? What if the real key is completely rewiring how you think about your abilities and then measuring your progress with absolute scientific precision? Well, that's exactly what we're going to unpack right now. Here is our roadmap for today. We'll start with the public speaking challenge, followed by adopting a growth mindset and traditional self-evaluation methods. Then we'll pivot to the tech with the AI feedback revolution, dive into how multimodal AI works, and finish up with taking action and improving. Let's get started.
Section 1. The Public Speaking Challenge, Understanding Apprehension. We're starting our journey from the inside out. Because honestly, before we can even hope to fix the mechanics of how we speak, we really have to address how we feel about speaking. There's always that quiet moment of doubt we all face right before opening our mouths to address a crowd. Interestingly, research published in the Basic Communication Course Annual shows that our struggles with speaking are inextricably linked to our internal beliefs about our self-perceived competence. Basically, if you walk up to a podium already believing you're inherently bad at public speaking, your apprehension naturally spikes and your performance drops. It's a total self-fulfilling prophecy. The fear we experience isn't just about the audience staring at us. It's deeply rooted in a fundamental belief about our own permanent limitations. And recognizing that is the very first step to dismantling the fear. Moving on to Section 2, Adopting a Growth Mindset, Shifting Your Internal Narrative. Now, what's incredibly cool about this next concept is how it completely reframes how we view our own potential to improve. It begs the ultimate question: are great speakers born, or are they made? Think about it. If you've ever caught yourself saying, "Man, I always struggle with public speaking, it's just not my thing," or "I'm just not a natural leader," it is definitely time to assess your mindset. Are those statements objectively true, or are they artificial ceilings you've unknowingly placed on yourself? This brings us to a massive psychological dividing line that dictates how we approach any new challenge in life. Is your mindset fixed, or can it grow? There's a really stark contrast here. A fixed mindset operates entirely on protection. It's the belief that your abilities are set in stone. You either have the elusive speaking gene or you don't. When you're operating under a fixed mindset, you naturally avoid challenges because, well, failing means you simply aren't smart or talented enough, and that hurts your ego. On the flip side, a growth mindset empowers you to view speaking as a trainable skill rather than some magical innate talent. You actively seek out feedback, even when it stings a little. You are driven by challenges because you fundamentally understand that struggle is just the temporary friction of growth. One of the most absolutely powerful mindset shifts you can make involves just 3 simple letters: Y-E-T. Adding the word yet to the end of a limiting belief changes the whole game. I am not a good public speaker yet. I don't know how to command a room yet. The data shows that this simple cognitive reframing significantly reduces public speaking apprehension while simultaneously boosting your self-perceived competence. It takes the terrifying finality out of failure and turns it into a stepping stone. It literally gives your brain permission to be a work in progress. This quote from Dr. Carol Dweck really hits the nail on the head. Her research is absolutely fascinating. She conducted these studies where students were given a puzzle. Afterward, they were praised either for their innate intelligence, told they were smart, or praised for their effort, told they worked really hard. The students praised for being smart later actively chose easier tasks. Why? Because they wanted to protect their ego and that smart label. But the kids praised for their hard work, they actually wanted the harder tasks. They loved the challenge. The huge takeaway here is that praising effort over innate intelligence creates a resilient foundation for continuous learning. And that applies directly to us as adults, tackling the anxiety of public speaking. Section 3. Traditional self-evaluation methods. The measurement problem. Once we embrace that growth mindset and actually believe we can improve, the natural next step is figuring out exactly how to measure that improvement over time. And this is where we historically hit a bit of a brick wall. We've relied heavily on subjective self-evaluation forms. You know the drill. After a presentation, we sit down and ask ourselves, did I make eye contact, or was I loud enough? We even try to gauge our comfort level on some arbitrary scale from 1 to 5. But think about the last time you gave a presentation. If I asked you if your audience appeared engaged, you'd probably just be guessing based on a fleeting feeling, right?
We are notoriously terrible at evaluating our own performances objectively, especially right after a high adrenaline event. These traditional evaluation methods highlight a massive gap in how we learn. Getting unbiased, objective, and consistent feedback is incredibly difficult for the average person. Human peer reviews are subjective. Your friends don't want to hurt your feelings. Hiring a professional, dedicated speaking coach, that's super expensive and out of reach for most of us. And self-evaluating is nearly impossible because you're too busy actually giving the speech and trying not to pass out to notice exactly how many times you shifted your weight or said the word We desperately need a completely different kind of mirror.
Which brings us to Section 4, the AI feedback revolution, objective measurement.
Let's look at the solution and see how modern technology builds on our desire to objectively measure and grow our skills without all the guesswork. A breakthrough paper we found in the International Advanced Research Journal in Science, Engineering, and Technology outlines a truly revolutionary system. They propose an affordable AI-powered system that provides real-time, data-driven feedback by analyzing both your audio and video inputs simultaneously. We're not just talking about hitting record on your smartphone and cringing while you watch it back later. This is an intelligent system actively watching and listening to you, grading your performance on a microscopic, completely objective level. It is essentially an elite communication coach available directly through your laptop. To really grasp why this is such a game changer, we have to look at the gaps in the old systems. Past technologies were pretty fractured and incomplete. They'd only look at a single metric, like an app that just tracks your audio for filler words. Or they required massive, super expensive virtual reality headsets that were incredibly clunky to set up. Those old systems completely missed the multimodal nature of human communication. When you speak to a crowd, they are hearing your tone, absorbing your words, and watching your body language all at the exact same time. Until now, tech just couldn't synthesize all of those distinct streams effectively and affordably for the everyday learner.
Section 5, how multimodal AI works, breaking down the tech.
I want to demystify exactly how this technology works without getting bogged down in confusing jargon. Because understanding the underlying tool helps you actually trust the feedback it gives you. Think of this AI pipeline using sensory metaphors. The system uses an audio analysis tool called Librosa, which effectively acts as the ears. It listens to your pitch, your speaking speed, and your underlying emotional tone. Then, convolutional neural networks and MediaPipe act as the eyes. They use your standard, everyday webcam to precisely track your posture alignment, where your eyes are looking, and your subtle facial expressions. Finally, Hugging Face natural language processing acts as the brain. It converts your speech to text in real time to analyze your actual words, flagging filler words like and checking to see if your sentences are genuinely coherent. Looking at the workflow outlined in the research paper, it's wild to see how the audio, video, and speech patterns are all processed in parallel. It is totally seamless. All of that data funnels down into a central feedback generator. This means that instead of vaguely guessing if you made decent eye contact during your practice run, the AI objectively tells you, hey, you only looked at the camera 30% of the time, and your speaking pace jumped dramatically when you got nervous in the second minute. It's giving you a highly targeted, actionable performance score based entirely on hard data.
Finally, Section 6, taking action and improving, bridging mind and machine.
Now that we have a clear understanding of both the psychological foundation and the technological tools available, it's time to put it all together into a practical workflow. The framework for real-world improvement is incredibly straightforward when you combine these two halves. Step 1. Spot it. Acknowledge your fixed mindset triggers and that fear of failure before you begin. Consciously add the word yet to your inner dialogue. Step 2. Take action. You don't have to guess in the dark anymore. Use these new AI multimodal tools to record a practice run, get that objective, hard data feedback on your posture and filler words, and create a targeted plan for your next attempt. Step 3. Drive. Remember Dr. Dweck's research? Push toward continuous growth. Praise yourself for the effort of practicing, not just the final outcome. By actively combining a growth mindset with the pinpoint accuracy of real-time AI analytics, you aren't just practicing blindly anymore. You can systematically target your weaknesses and, more importantly, celebrate your actual measurable improvements. And that brings us to our final thought. We've explored how a fixed mindset creates a massive wall of apprehension, and we've seen how modern AI absolutely shatters the old subjective ways of evaluating our skills. When your mindset inherently believes that you have the capacity to grow, and you have accessible technology that shows you exactly, objectively, how to do it, what is stopping you from taking the stage? Thank you so much for joining this explainer. I hope you leave realizing that with the right mindset and the right tools, mastering communication is entirely within your reach. Keep learning, keep practicing, and we'll catch you in the next explainer.